Welcome to the Reality After Show. I'm Matt Bischoff from Survivor Caramoan, Fans versus Favorites 2, with Alex Trias here to dissect everything that just went down on Survivor Season 45, Episode 4. And boy, did a lot of stuff go down this episode. This was a roller coaster for me, Alex, because overall, I was like really stoked on the episode, the gameplay, the camp life, the challenge, the swap, and go to tribal. I was really caught off guard. And Michael Snow, my number one alliance member from Survivor Caramoan, we always text during the show, and he's just like, what the hell is going on with these people quitting? I was just like very pissed off, very disappointed, fired up. Dan Monchel is not on the podcast tonight. He was a little bit bummed that he couldn't be here with us. Jonny Fairplay, just for those wondering, he is in Boston right now for a Survivor viewing party. And then tomorrow night he'll be in Boston yet again for a House of Villains viewing party. And if you want to hear Johnny's take on this episode, him and Wayne Mehmet should be Friday doing their recap of the show. But Alex Trias, man, I mean, overall, before we get into how it all went down, are you excited about these 90-minute episodes? Or you feel like we're getting like tons of stuff that we kind of wouldn't normally get in a 60-minute episode?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, there's times where I feel like maybe we could use with a little less of the stuff. Like sometimes it feels like we're not that we're getting too much, but sometimes I feel like it's like we're dragging our feet a little bit through the episode, but I'm enjoying it. I enjoy all this stuff. I love the little nuances. I love seeing the subplots of a season instead of just like getting hit with it in the type of episodes we've been getting in past seasons. Yeah. So I'm enjoying the 90 minutes. I love that we get like almost a full out, like probably like a full 45 minutes before we get into the immunity challenge so that we can really understand the dynamics of all three tribes so that whichever tribe does lose, we have an idea of, okay, well, this is where the story's going instead of just like only having a 3-minute segment of scrambling to understand the dynamics before they try to blindside us at a tribal. So all that stuff I'm liking. I liked that we had a new challenge in terms of for U.S. Survivor today.
Yeah.
I felt like it looked a little bit in terms of physicality, a little bit of Australian Survivor there.
Yeah, right. I hear you. So, I would have to agree on that one.
But what are you feeling with these 90 minutes?
Oh, I dig the 90-minute episodes. I mean, I kind of hear you. Like, I'm not going to complain because I would rather have 90 minutes, but if I were to critique it, it would be like maybe there's like, you know, they could, like there's some camp life stuff that technically if it wasn't in there, I wouldn't really be missing a whole lot of things that impact the game of Survivor. However, I played Survivor, right? So I know what it's like to be on the island. So when I see this extra footage, it's like, man, I wish I had that extra footage of my season. Like, because there's just cool, fun stuff that goes down in Survivor. I love Survivor. I just want to get that out there right now. I love Survivor. Am I fired up right now? Yes, because like I said, I was not expecting the outcome of Sean quitting the game more or less and saying, everyone, please vote me out. Because I love my husband. I've learned all this stuff about myself and what really means stuff to me. Listen, I love my wife. I left my job, my 2 very small children, and the love of my life to compete on Survivor. It was the hardest thing I've done in my life, I would say, leaving my family, especially when I left them. Because when their kids were young, it's like, man, you know, it's very bizarre leaving. But I knew that when I was there, I'm a huge Survivor fan. I dreamed of playing this since season 1. I applied for Survivor in 2003, made a video. No one ever called me. I didn't apply again until like 2011. when I got on the season I was on Survivor Caramoan. So this season, it's been very disappointing for me as such a huge fan and someone who loves the show so much to see someone like Brandon, who definitely did not prepare to play this game and was kind of just whining the whole time and doing so shitty. And then to see the one chick, I even forget her name, that quit. Hannah. Yeah, that's so much.
At least the difference between those, though, is that at least Hannah was upfront about it. Hannah was essentially like saying, like, I can't do this. Like, this isn't what I thought I could do. I thought I could do it. I realized I can't. So please vote me out or I will quit. Like, at least, like, and I so before we got on, I read the EW article Dalton Ross sent out with comments from Jeff Probst and from the podcast that gets released like right after the episode of whatever it's called. I don't care. The official Survivor podcast with him and Rick Devens. And he talks about like the difference between the two. And I think you could tell in this episode, Jeff's a little more annoyed with this version of going out versus Hannah's. Because he's like, at least with Hannah's, she admits it. Like, she admits this is a quit. That, like, I can't deal with the conditions. I can't deal with the camp life. Like, my body can't do this. I can't do this. Whereas he's like, Sean was doing it. Like, Sean was fine. Sean had no issues with the camp life. He wasn't struggling in that regard. He was playing the game. He was playing hard. But Jeff thinks that when he gave Sean the question of, well, if it's as clear as it's supposed to be, you're the one who's supposed to be going home. What does the game mean? What did this experience mean to you? Because that's something he's been doing in this new era. I think it triggered something in Sean into like a fear of, oh, these people all were actually playing me when they weren't. And so I felt, and I think Jeff agrees with this point of, he was trying to romanticize it. He was trying to take control of his exit out of the game, which you hear in his final words. He calls it a quit because that's essentially what he did. He took his ball and went home because he thought, oh, I'm not going to get my way. So I need to make this about something bigger. I need to make this about something that like was life fulfilling for me. And maybe it was. Maybe in these 9 days, he did get these realizations. Like, both things can be true.
Don't play Survivor, Alex.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that irritates me the most out of all of it is like during Survivor casting process, it is super gnarly. They do all kinds of psychological testing and stuff like that to make sure they do not want you to quit. It's like, so the fact that there's been 2 people quit on the same season, something is freaking wrong. Whether it's the psychological testing or whatever, you should be on Survivor to win $1 million and to kill for it, and to quit is not even an option. So it just, to me, Sean quitting because I've realized so much about me shows me the pussy ass shit of today's society of how quitting is fine. My kid, my one son quit watching seasons ago because he hates Survivor now. But my youngest son and my wife watch it, and it's just like, I haven't discussed this, but I'm like thinking, it's I guess it's okay, kids, to just quit. If you're just, I've got what I want out of it. I'm just gonna quit. Fuck Sean. I am not cool with it, and I wish they would have voted out Sifu. And then because I was loving Jemiah and Sean's relationship and hoping that Sean was going to continue on, even though I didn't really care about Sean the whole first part of this season in his tribe, the Lulu tribe, going from episode 1, 2, and 3. He really wasn't doing a whole lot for me because it was dominated by these bigger characters and stuff like that. But for Sean to be like, oh, I love my husband and whatever. I mean, I'll tell it like it is, like with me and Michael Snow are texting. And, he's like, what the fuck? He's like, I do not get this guy. And he's like, good fucking riddance. And it's like, so you love your husband, big deal. Why the fuck do you quit? And I agree with Michael, dude, because I fucking was out there away from my 2 kids. You are a fucking pussy if you quit the game because you miss someone at home. don't go on the show Survivor if you are not mentally capable of being away from your loved ones. And second of all, because I did play Survivor and I know when you leave or get voted out, you're at Ponderosa, dude, for the entire time. You don't get your phone. You can't call your husband. Like if I said, oh, I miss my wife, I'm quitting. I don't get to call Tessa. I'm gone for the whole time. So like, why wouldn't you stay in the game to potentially win $1 million, or you win more money the longer you're in the game, as we know, Alex, the more money you win. So just stay in the game. Like if I was Sean's husband, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You could have stayed in the game and made another $10,000 for our future, but instead you leave. So that's what I don't get. I get it somewhat if you're like, I literally miss my family so much. Please vote me out. And then you get on an airplane and you fly back to America and you're in your loved one's arms within 24 hours. That's what Australian Survivor is.
Right.
It's from what I know. You get to go home.
If you're pre-jury, yeah.
So I get that. If you're pre-jury, dude, if Sean had a feeling, and I'm not condoning quitting, but if Sean looked at the big picture and was like, dude, even if I make it another day, I am not making jury. I want to go home. But you don't go home. So what would be the point, Alex Trias, of quitting because you miss your husband, but you're not even going home to your husband? So what are you going to do?
Well, you either sit there or you essentially break contract and say, you don't have to pay me. You can just send me right back home. Are the two options you have. But this is why I'm saying, like, I think that is what he put out there. I still am of the consensus, and we'll never get the true answer. I am of the consensus. I side with Jeff here, where I think he's having this false realization in Tribal that they're all voting him out. So it was like his excuse way of like taking the moment for himself instead of like accepting the fact that they were going to try to blindside him. It's like, I'm taking that away from you. You don't get to blindside me. I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. Because at that point in time, he doesn't think there's a way to get back. He doesn't think that they're all voting with him to stay in the game and vote Sifu out. He thinks they're all trying to make him look like a fool. So he makes himself look like a fool in a different way by essentially quitting. But I think saying the loved one thing is a very easy thing for someone to say as like that excuse to like lighten the load for yourself of what you're doing. I don't agree with it. I know I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm sort of the mindset of it. You came up with a plan. You are talking in your confessionals about you gotta have trust. You gotta have trust. It does not matter what Jeff says at Tribal. It truly doesn't.
No.
Like you can't take a question that he tells every single person, especially even people that aren't leaving the game. He asks them, "What does this mean to you?" Like he's obviously going to ask that to you because we're all aware of the dynamics. You were an option, but what you're ultimately showing is that you didn't have trust with them, and they were all going to make the wrong decision of keeping you over Sifu, who is tribe strong, or at least was until you guys decided let's spread the votes around and try to get Sifu out anyway.
Right.
So well, in the positive, we're going to get some interesting dynamics heading out of this Tribal because now Sifu knows one of y'all put my name down. You all were going to try to get one on me when I've been nothing but loyal to you. And I think it would have been a dumb decision anyway for them to keep Sean over Sifu.
Yeah.
Because like they were already admitting like their strategy was, oh, I love Sean so much, so we can get Sifu out now because he's a threat because he may have an idol. Like that was all the reason why it was the big move was they believe he has an idol when Dee and Julie know that he doesn't.
Yeah.
So you're going to take him out, but they were already talking in the sense of, well, then we'll just go to the next Tribal and vote Sean out anyway. Well, if that's what's going to happen, I side with Julie of, well, we should have just taken Sean out originally, and maybe we don't have that problem. Because it's obvious Mr. Heavy metal Tai Chi dude is good with us.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this, But before the complete shock of it was blindsiding to me. Like at least it was a blindside because I was blindsided, right? So besides the fact of me being irate that we have another quitter on season 45, I, starting from the beginning of the episode, was digging the episode. So
for sure. There's tons of good stuff. We hit tribal. We know what happened at tribal. Let's talk about all the good stuff that happens.
Yeah, so it's night 7. Sabiyah is out, and after tribal, Sean is dumbfounded about kind of how the whole tribal went down. He knows he's at the bottom, and yeah, it's always entertaining when you get back from tribal council, and it's just a shit show of what just went down. Yeah, who do I trust? Who do I don't trust? It's very crazy.
It's so awkward, but like I side with Emily 100%. Like I like every episode. I love that Emily's getting to get her feet under herself after essentially having to start the game flat on her face.
Yes,
like you see her becoming more and more of a competent player, allowing to put more trust out there, allowing to get her perception out there because she is a smart person, and she's like. The way that he can just chameleon, like he was just trying to blindside him. Now he's smiling like the Cheshire Cat, like trying to be like, no, I'm good with y'all. I can be loyal. Like I love a blindside. I wish I could have been in with y'all. And Caleb's just like, maybe next time.
Right.
And don't worry, it'll be you.
Yeah, I mean, he knows he's at the bottom, and then we see this thing where Caleb and Emily. Caleb has kind of been really nursing Emily back to life after she kind of had a rough start on the first episode. And Emily is the first person Caleb says I actually trust in this game. But here's, Sean does make a statement how he's thankful to be here in the game, which I think is funny because then he then quits like an hour later. But Sean does, or Emily says that Sean is like a chameleon, trying to get back into good graces with Emily and Caleb. So Sean is sitting there really trying his best. And that's why it's such a shock to me that he quit, because he was really trying to do what he needed to do to just kind of get his footing back after this. Because we're down to 3 people, dude. This is why I hate the 3-tribe format. Because I was like, oh my God, it took me a minute when I was watching. I was like, wow, after tribal, there's only 3 people. It just makes it for kind of boring television when there's only 3 people to talk about what went down versus, like a bigger group, right? I'm more of a fan of a bigger group dynamic here. But Sean says, my only chance is for a swap. And then we go right into the intro credits that I love so much that they brought back. And which is awesome. And so after the credits intro of the show, basically all the tribes are coming in to meet Jeff. And when Jeff says who got voted out, that Sabiyah got voted out, there was really big reactions from everyone, dude. Why do you think that is? Everyone was tripping out.
Well, I feel like this is where I can sort of pull from you and your experience on Survivor. Like, obviously, you can only make so many impressions of other people that you haven't been on a tribe with. But when someone gets voted out, like you obviously, I would think a part of your camp life, part of just like what you would discuss during the day is if the other tribe's going to tribal, like trying to talk about what you believe the dynamics are of that group based off of what you see in challenges. And I guess like their interpretation of what they see in challenges and how they talk at the mat, which we don't see much of, they must have an impression that Sabiyah's strong, powerful, a leader type, like someone that you wouldn't vote out in like your first half of players.
Yes. That's what they were. So they were really tripping out. And, Emily was like, look, it's not fun to be in this position of Lulu losing every freaking challenge and constantly having to go to tribal. So this is great for her and Caleb and everyone. Really, it's switching tribes, and so there's 3 new tribes going to be happening, Alex.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
because you experienced a swap in Survivor.
Yep.
Did you guys ever have an impression of when the swap was happening based off of what production would ask you in confessionals, or like while you're getting set up, you would see something that like would signal to you that, oh, the game's shifting, we're about to swap?
I didn't really get any kind of foreshadowing or hints from production per se. You start looking at kind of how the numbers are dwindling down, how many challenges that the fans are losing. So you kind of have a hunch like, man, they probably will do something different here.
Mm-hmm.
So did I think like, oh, it's definitely a swap today? No, but I was also like, it's probably going to be coming soon. So it wasn't really that much of a surprise, right? Now for this is kind of early for a swap, isn't it? You know, like
it's hard to tell because we haven't had a swap since Winners at War, and that was obviously I believe it was 2 tribes into 3 tribes at that point instead of 3 to 3. The reason why I was just asking was because I sort of had my tinfoil hat on, and like how they were asking they were making comments like, well, it'd be pretty fun to have a swap right now or a switch up, and I'm like, if you've only been experiencing the new era, and these are all super fans, so they're super fans that have listened to Jeff Probst's podcast and his articles that go out on EW with Dalton Ross and all that, like there's been no indication that Jeff has been like, we're going to do a swap. He's like, it does not work. It does not work in this type of setting with only 26 days, less movement. Obviously, the first season, 41, 42, was because of COVID. It was like they didn't want to do as much shifting, but there was no indication that there would ever, at this point in time, would ever be a swap again. So I don't know if it's just them all having wishful thinking that this would be the time that changed, but I'm happy it is. I'm happy it is.
Well, I can tell you this. This is why they did a swap. Because Caleb and Emily are 2 of the best players on the season.
And we need them to survive.
And they did not want them to dwindle away. Because if Lulu lost, then
Sean goes.
Yeah. So I feel that production, I love Caleb and I love Emily. And I hated Emily like 4 weeks ago. I couldn't stand her. I hated her. I love her. She's one of my favorites this season. So the fact that this drop your buff, switching tribes, I do wish it would have been 2 tribes. I don't know how that could have worked. I don't know how many. What is it? Is it 3?
3 tribes of 5.
Okay, 3 tribes of 5. So yeah, okay, that's how it has to work. So you got 3 new tribes. Caleb looks to be on a stronger tribe now from when I first saw.
I don't. Unless Jake gets medically evacuated from this game, which they keep trying to make us think is going to happen.
Yes.
That tribe's not losing unless they want to lose.
I know.
Like they literally have, outside of Austin and Sifu, all of the muscle, and you have Kelly who's been great on the puzzles. For her original Bello tribe. So and you see how the challenge goes today, and like we'll talk about the challenge and why they did it right and the other teams did it wrong. Mm-hmm. They just seem on it, even with the infighting drama with Katura and Bruce. Like they're the threat tribe now.
Yeah, so Caleb is the only Lulu person on his tribe, but I think Caleb is likable enough that he can really get in with the rest of the players. I don't think it's going to be a matter of he's the only Lulu person. I think that he has a good position, and the fact, like you just said, most likely they're going to win a bunch of challenges. And I wrote down in my notes because I was like, can you please break down kind of the other 2 tribes and how the stuff laid out?
Yeah. So I have the 3 tribes here. So obviously we just talked about Lulu. The new Reba tribe is Sean with 4 original Reba members in D, Julie, Sifu, and J Maya. And from our perspective, we know D and Julie are tight. They were part of a foursome with themselves, Drew and Austin. Obviously, they're split up. From what we knew, if they were to go to tribal, Sifu and J Maya were on the outs. looks like more context in this episode, Sifu would have been the one ultimately on the outs based off of just like how he was the first few days of camp life and them convincing Jay Maya that he has the idol. Yeah. So in theory, Sean goes in there being like, oh, well, Reba's strong. This isn't great for me. But there's cracks. There are cracks there. There's places to wiggle through. Then you have the New Bello tribe, which is the most diverse tribe, as we hear Drew say 100 times in 2 minutes. Because you have 2 original Reba in himself and Austin. You have 2 original Bello in Kendra and Brando. And then you have Emily square in the middle. The perfect spot to be in. Despite, you could be the consensus vote between a 2 and 2, but we're at a point of the game where with everyone on it, with knowing how Survivor works, she's not being touched unless she truly makes a fool out of herself.
Yes. So I like it here when we see Katurah talking, and she wanted to hear about when Brandon was voted out, and Bruce was like really kind of sweating it here, right? He's worried because all the truth wasn't really out, and Katurah is actually smart enough to realize that she can get intel from another source and then kind of compare notes to see if whoever said what they said before was truth or not. So I think Bruce is a little bit kind of tripping out about this.
Yeah, this was a conversation Katurah should have had in private with Caleb.
Yep, I agree with
that. Especially when Caleb ultimately gives the same information. Yeah. So it's like, it's not like, oh, I caught Bruce in a lie. Yes. It's like, oh, this does sort of just fact check, but I'm still annoyed with him anyway. And I know we briefly went past this, but how about Bruce having his like emotional moment, which if we can keep things a buck here, if we're gonna keep it a buck, someone from production definitely had to have told him that this was Tika Beach, because I don't know how you in a concussed state are going to remember the exact beach that you were staying at outside of seeing it in episode 1.
Right.
While I hear you. Air. But like, I felt for him. I was like, oh, bring me on this journey with you.
Yeah, right. He was definitely very emotional, but he snapped out of it real quick.
Yeah.
He was like, he had his time to get what he was feeling out in the open, which he's like, I'm glad I did, instead of keeping it all bottled up. So, but yeah, it was an emotional moment for Bruce. We see this deal where Jake and Caleb are walking around in the jungle talking. Jake seems open to working with Caleb, and then we see this confessional where Jake is like, I'm ready to jump ship. and he starts,
good thing I can swim.
Yeah, I found that. Oh God,
he's such a goof. He's such a goofball. It'd be such a shame if he could have more context about it in Boston with Jonny Fairplay and others. It would be so weird if he ended up showing up at the Greatest Bar tonight. And even crazier if he then showed up tomorrow for the House of Villains watch party at the Greatest Bar that you can get at villaintix.com.
Yeah, and it would even be crazier if Johnny talked about some crazy stories that went down, with Jake at the Greatest Bar and our Q&A that we do, realitypatron.com, to hear all the behind the scenes. And seriously, just so everyone that's listening knows, the best way to support the podcast is to become a patron. It's realitypatron.com. We have a secret Facebook group. We have a Q&A we do each and every week. And if you're paying any attention, and if you don't live under a damn rock, House of Villains is an awesome show going on right now. Our man Jonny Fairplay is on it, and we are getting the heat, the emotion. I mean, we just did a Q&A the other night. Me, Dan, and I don't know if you've watched it, Alex, but me, Dan, and Johnny.
I did.
Johnny cries.
He was like emotional.
Big time emotion on the Q&A. It was a beautiful thing. It's like a therapy session for Johnny, being able to just kind of talk about his feelings with his buddies. about the House of Villains experience. So if you're into that type of thing and want some extra coverage, realitypatron.com. And if you want to see where Jonny's doing his viewing parties next, he's got a whole ton of them over the next couple months for not only Survivor, but also House of Villains. Survivor tickets are at survivortix.com. That's survivortix.com. And the House of Villains is villains, or is it? I keep messing up.
It's villaintix.com.
Villaintix.com.
They're both
it takes
the
you
same.
To the same place. Yeah. It takes you to the same event page or whatever. But be sure to do that. And like I said, if you're tuning in right now and you're like, "Where's Fairplay? I thought this was his podcast." Fairplay, when he does his live view, when he does his viewing parties, Alex and I are always doing the after show, and then he comes back Friday and does them. So, Jake seems open to, like I said, working with Caleb. And what do you think about that duo if they work together? Are you into it?
I think I am. Like, I wasn't sure what to think about Jake at first, but I think he's growing on me the more that he's there, because you can tell there's a little villain in him.
Yeah.
And I think we're slowly starting to see that try to come out.
Yes.
Of like, oh, everyone thinks I just want to be Belo strong, but I'll jump. I can swim. I swim fast. I will do what's best for Jake and only Jake. But I think it's a combination that works. And obviously Caleb is going to grab to anything that will give him a chance, because obviously he's, from his perception at that time, it's 4v1. At the moment, he hasn't found that crack yet. So anyone who's going to say like, hey, here's a lifeline, I'm jumping on it.
Oh yeah, totally. So we go back to the Bello tribe. Austin, Emily, Brando, Drew, and Kendra. That's the crazy astrology girl, right? Is that her name, Kendra?
Yeah.
Okay. So I dig this tribe. The Austin Drew combination. And now you got Emily kind of in the mix with this. I think it's going to add for some interesting just camp life, tribe dynamic strategy. I'm all down for it. Then we go to the Red Tribe, the Reba Tribe. Sean is the only Lulu person. Jemiah is excited to talk with Sean. And here's the deal, though. This happened on Caramoan, where people get really tripped out. Is there an idol in place? Does someone have an idol? So with the fact that it was 4 against 1 on this tribe, we see D and Sifu, they're wanting to look through Sean's bag. So they find out how he ties the knot. They replicate that knot on one of their bags, and they go through his bag and they discover there's just a bunch of dirty socks. He's really organized, and there is no idol in there. Now, are you one of those people that think that going through someone's bags is a no-no, or are you cool with it on Survivor as part of gameplay?
So, like, I'm of two minds. Like, I think your personal stuff's your personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a weird situation where, like, obviously, if he were to have had something, it would need to be in his bag at that point, because he had to switch to a different camp.
Yes.
So then, like, part of me's like, all's fair in love, war, and Survivor.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna leave your bag out in the open, if people want to look, they're gonna look. That's ultimately a moral choice for them. It's not like they're taking stuff out and like abusing his stuff. It's like they put everything back how they found it. They didn't like throw everything around.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. Like, what's your mindset on it?
My mindset is, in the new era of Survivor, I think honesty and loyalty and being noble back in the day was a lot different than now. So I think that this is a cutthroat game with twists and turns and do what it takes to win. So I think going through someone's bag, if I'm there and someone, if I'm on a tribe and you go to look for firewood and we really think Alex Trias has an idol, I'm looking in your bag.
How dare you? How dare you, Matt? I thought we were friends.
How
dare
but
you not trust me?
But yeah, so I would look. So I don't blame them. And it makes it for fun TV. Like, are they going to get caught? Is Sean going to realize his knots aren't done properly? So so Jemiah tells Sean that she wants to vote for Sifu. And then we see Dee, Jemiah, and Julie kind of talking about the Sifu versus Sean dilemma. Like, if it came up, like what would we do, right?
Mhm.
So then we go to Bello day 9. Emily feels like her safety net is gone. And then Austin and Drew are so tight, and we know that they have, between the two of them, an idol, a beware advantage, and another advantage. They make for a powerful duo because I really feel that their alliance, dude, is like rock solid. And
Mhm.
I can see them, like when we saw the season where Wendell and Dominic Abate were just so tight together and stuff like that. I feel like Drew and Austin are just going to be tight this whole game until one of them gets voted out. I highly doubt if Drew or Austin are going to backstab one another. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think so, or like the opportunity will never present itself for either of them. I
Right.
still don't think either of them are winning.
Yes, I don't either.
But yeah, no, I can see it, and I think they made it a point that they are showing Drew and Austin doing this work, and we did not see Kendra and Brando doing this work.
Yeah.
Like we don't hear from Kendra or Brando this episode.
No, we don't.
At all.
Not at all. I totally forgot that Brando's in it.
But it also makes sense to me that Emily would vibe more specifically with Drew.
Yeah.
I think they have a similar wavelength on how they're seeing the game.
Yes.
So I think it makes sense.
Yeah. Emily is like just kind of talking to them at the water. She's so happy that she has this new life. And it's just crazy to me how different Emily is from episode 1 to now. She's really turned it around. And like I said, I really
She's winning.
Dude,
she's winning.
She's killer, dude.
She said, if I'm not winning, I'd rather go home first. And she's still here.
I know. You said it, dude. It could happen. It could happen.
I said it as a joke, but now I'm like, I'm buying the joke.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna be doing a lot of apologies if I meet her at an event and I was like, I'm sorry, I said I hated you the first episode and you won. Fuck.
Here, I'll embed for you right now. As Johnny loves to say, this is an entertainment platform.
It is. It is an entertainment platform. So Lulu day 9. Kelly has Jake and Bruce in her back pocket, and Katurah wants to get Caleb alone because we know Bruce wants to pull Caleb in, but right. Katurah wants to kind of talk to him on the down low. Because listen, Katurah thinks Bruce is annoying, and they keep showing annoying stuff of Bruce to show that he is annoying and where Katurah is coming from. Her confessionals are funny, and I love how they keep editing together, like I said, all of Bruce's weird shit. Do you think he's really weird out there?
I think yes.
I do too.
Like, I think we are seeing Bruce for what Bruce is. And I think he's an awesome dude. Yes. I can also understand seeing how some people could interpret what he's doing and be like, come on, man. Like, can you give it up for a moment? Like, can you relax for a minute? I think they also are showing Katurah in this way because Katurah loses the battle.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm fully convinced Bruce has a longer run in him than her because Bruce has like other stories going on, other relationships he's talking about, whereas Katurah's storyline, after having an amazing premiere, has only been fixated on I'm annoyed by Bruce, and because I'm annoyed by him, I want him out.
Yeah, which is not the best reason to vote somebody out, really.
Right.
There's a lot more than being annoyed by someone. That I wouldn't want that to be like my whole gameplay persona is like Matt's annoyed with this person every episode. Let's get him out. So I completely agree with you. So Caleb is getting info from her, and Caleb knows kind of where things lie now based on Katura's information that he's kind of given to her. And then we go to day 9, the immunity challenge. And Alex, this is a multi-stage challenge. You start off, you jump in the water. You got to get up and over a cage, use 2 poles to kind of lift the cage up and take it to the beach where you place it in a specific area on the beach. And then one person has to dig under the cage in the sand to be the collector of balls. And it's basically basketball. First person to score 3 baskets wins. This is a brutal challenge, honestly. Swimming in the ocean is not an easy thing to do, especially when you're hungry and tired and stuff like that. And these cages, I guarantee you, was heavy as all hell. And so it's one thing moving those cages in the water. Once you get onto the beach and have to move it in the sand, it is gnarly. Trust me. So Caleb kills it. I mean, he lands the baskets like nothing. He just like, boom, land 1, land 2, finally lands the 3rd one. So he wins. And then Sifu and Austin are neck and neck, but Austin ends up winning it for Bilo. And the Reba tribe, which is a red tribe, lost. And sucks to be them, especially after, just an episode where there is a tribe swap. The last thing you want to do is go to tribal first thing out of a tribe swap. So I feel bad for them. What I will say here, back at camp, Bruce pretends that he looks in his pocket and he's like, I don't know where the flint is. And everyone's like, are you serious? And at first I'm like, is this dude serious? And he's like, haha, just kidding. This would I'm all about joking, dude. I joke 24 hours a day. This is probably not a joke that I would do on Survivor.
And you cut to Katura in a confessional, not even making a reaction. She's like, see? Yeah. You see what I'm dealing with here?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't, especially with, honestly, if I'm Caleb, I'm the one who takes that the worst because I'm just like, buddy.
Yes.
I haven't had a flint for 9 days.
I know.
I would like to see a fire.
Yes. So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Caleb is stoked. They finally got fire. That would suck at nighttime, dudes, not having any light and keeping away the bugs and just being able to cook and boil your water. So yeah, Caleb is really excited that they got fire. Back at the Reba. Go ahead.
And really excited for the win. And I do want to make a mention for the challenge of why they did so well. Besides being the strong tribe.
Yes.
The other 2 tribes were like trying to like essentially curl it.
Yeah.
Like using their biceps, using their back. Whereas you had on a rotation of the 3 guys on Lulu when they would take their breaks, switch, have one other guy in the front with the 2 girls and have them hold it like they were doing a squat or like having like a barbell on your shoulders so that you can use all of your muscle to hoist it up. And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to carry something on your back than trying to lift something heavy. It's like, imagine like you're going up and down stairs trying to move a big couch that has no business going up a narrow flight of stairs, and you constantly have to jerk it around, doing everything, but you have to hold it in a curling position. It tires you out so much quicker.
Yeah, I agree. The strategy of the squatting and stuff is that's a great strategy.
And part of that was like, I'm watching that and like Sifu's doing a lot of work for Reba, and you hear Sean go like, can someone help me? And they just keep going, and you look at Sean, they do camera shots of Sean, and Sean's barely touching the thing. Like everyone else is doing.
Dude, he's not at all. Yeah. I saw that. He's in the back corner and he's like not doing it. He's like, he could have just been like, put one.
He literally could have just been walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude. Yeah. Crazy.
But like, so you get there, and so like we are going to Reba, and in my mind, I feel like this is where Julie should be like going in, be like, and she tries, and she's like, we need to keep Sifu. Like, we shouldn't want to go to tribal again. No. Like, we should still want, to the best of our ability, to stay tribe strong.
Yep.
Send out Sean, who did not help us win, because I think if we remove him, we have a better chance of winning. And that cuts to J Mai being like, look, I'll be tribe strong later. I don't want to be tribe strong now because I don't trust Sifu.
Yeah.
Sifu may have an idol. We need to take him out now. He's a big player. This is a big move. And part of me's like, is it a big move? But then I have to remember, it's like, we don't see everything. We don't understand the dynamics of every little thing. So in J Mai's mind, Sifu is the big move.
Right. Yeah, because Julie, we see win challenges, which I get it. But Sean just says, this is a tricky situation. So going into this tribal council, we have two people that are kind of names are being put on the chopping block. It's either going to be Sifu or it's going to be Sean. And Sifu hasn't really done a whole lot for me.
No.
And so I'm like, I don't care if he goes home. But going into tribal, like I said, I was blindsided tonight. We know here that 4 original Reba, and then there's Sean. So it's 4-1 as far as tribe lines go. Sean says, I feel like I have new life, but this could also be, a bad thing, being that it's 4-1. And, Sean just said he feels himself, right? He's just there. I'm not really annoyed by Sean. I'm like, oh, okay. Sean, you could get through this tribal council and go deep into this game. And then Sifu even says, look, I have some good vibes with Sean, and this is where we talked earlier when I was all pissed off that Jeff does the ultimate thing of saying, Sean, if you were to go home tonight, what does this Survivor experience mean to you? And he talks about self-reflection, what he's learned, what's important to him. And what's the most important thing to him is his husband back home. And he breaks down and he talks about, being Mormon, and he wasn't really himself when he was younger. He was kind of brainwashed and forced into this Mormon lifestyle. And he feels like he has years wasted of his life. He does not want to waste a single minute. Therefore, he does not want to be in the game of Survivor anymore because he wants to be back in the arms of his loving husband. Here's the problem, Sean. You're not. You're walking out of tribal council, whether you quit or you get voted out, and you're staying until the entire game is over with. So I do not understand this rationale. I do like the reflection stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. Then it takes a turn for the worst, where he basically is like, I want to quit. So I went from literally being like totally cool with this episode, Alex, to being like highly annoyed. And then Michael Snow's texting me, and I'm texting Michael Snow back and forth. And I basically, wrote, Sean, you are a fucking pussy. You are out of the country the entire time anyways. So Sean says, everyone, please vote me out. I was really hoping that by the looks of people, like they were kind of saying, Sifu. I was hoping Sifu would get voted out. So then we could get like, would Sean, if Sifu would have got voted out, would Sean have a realization of like, shit, maybe I shouldn't have tried to quit this game, and maybe he's still in the game. I don't know. Yep. But as you said,
I 100% believe that would have happened.
Yeah. So if that would have happened, right, I would have been like, wow, dude, that's heavy. Like, you're on the verge of quitting. And then they say, nope, not today. And then you're back in the game and you really change your mind. Because that happened with Holly Hoffman or whatever, like a long time ago on her season. She she was almost wanting to quit. So Survivor is hard. Just so you know, we've heard it from Brandon. We've heard it from, people. I imagine if Caleb got voted out next week, he would say how hard Survivor is. Survivor is one of the hardest things you will ever do in your life. And however, having two quitters in the same season is a bit, you got to admit, Alex, and I know you're always the voice of reason, and I appreciate that because any podcast, it's good to have two sides. That's why when I joined this podcast with Jonny, I was the ultimate nice guy. Jonny was the ultimate villain, and we complimented one another. Lately, I've been more the villain when it comes to these opinions because it's just driving me crazy, dude. So, Sean, dude, I liked watching you this episode, but I lost all respect and I'm so pissed off. And I hope I get to meet you and you get to like give me a big hug and tell me, Matt, the reason why I did this is because of this, and then I apologize to you and it's kumbaya. I hope that's the case. But very disappointed I was blindsided, Alex. I'm not going to lie. I mean, did you foresee this happening? Would you have predicted the beginning of this episode when Sean's got new breath of life on a tribe swap that he's going to do this?
Well, no. Like, I texted my friend because we love to try to predict it during the episode, like what's going to happen. My friend thought the Lulu tribe was going to go to tribal, and it was going to be, this was setting up for Katura or Bruce to go home. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like they're suddenly giving Sean a lot more airtime. Sean's probably going.
Right.
So I was predicting Sean to go. I wasn't expecting that this would be the cascading event of what would send him out.
Right.
Is his own ability to not understand the question and use that to cause his own paranoia to be like, well, you know what? I'll just quit and make them vote me out and take it out on my own terms. I could have easily seen Sifu go tonight as well, but I was thinking Sean was going to go because it made sense to me for Sean to go. So I'm glad that ultimately they get to the right conclusion anyway.
Yeah. So do you foresee, I mean, oh man, I do not have a crystal ball. I actually have a crystal ball tattooed on my leg. There's a wizard holding the crystal ball.
You should look into it.
I should. Do you feel that there's any possible way, Alex Trias, expert of all things reality TV and Survivor, that there's going to be a third person that quits this season? Or do you think this is it?
I would be more inclined to say someone would get medically removed from the game before another quit happens. I personally don't see it with the rest of the people there. I could see some people being like accepting their fate that they are being voted out. And that's different. That's different of accepting your fate that you're being voted out versus saying, I want you all to put my name down because it's the easiest decision to make because I love my husband.
Yeah.
I love my husband. It's like, it's like, it is what it is, I don't foresee it. I will look into my crystal ball that I don't have tattooed on my leg or own, but I'll look at one. I'll find one and I'll look into it.
Maybe Survivor needs to have a clause in the contract that says, if you quit, you owe us $10,000. You forfeit your prize.
I get why you're saying that because
like you forfeit your prize money.
Invest in you.
Yeah, you forfeit your prize money. Like you don't.
Oh, for sure.
Because before you would get like $10,000 for the finale, and you would get X amount of money per episode. So if you're the 7th person voted out, like me, you get X amount of money plus the $10,000. Now I don't know if they do the $10,000 because there's technically not a finale anymore. Mm-hmm. However, so you're literally, my thing is if you spoil the outcome of the show on social media, like, I forget what the one dude's name was. Alec and Kara.
But like he didn't even, I still don't think like he spoiled it. They just he had a picture of him and Cara together in a picture.
Yeah. Right.
And then, but I still think that was blown way over proportion. Like, whatever, like that.
But I don't think they made. I don't think they made any. I think they got their money taken from them. I think
they did.
So that's what I think. I think if you quit, that's fine, but you're not making any money, and you're dead to us. So Sean, I would have loved to seen how you would have done because this episode, honestly, I think you did more in this episode tonight than you had done at all the first few episodes that was dominated by other players in your tribe. But totally blindsided. Fuck quitters. But listen, Reality After Show fans, this is entertainment. We break down these seasons and talk about these players. We talk about this in a game scenario. Personal life of people that I meet from Survivor, or even if, people talk so much shit on me when I played Survivor, that people talk shit on everybody. But we talk about the show from a show's perspective, and all these people, I'm sure, are wonderful, amazing people in real life. So I can't wait to meet each and every one of you that's on Survivor Season 45. And actually, next week, I do not think I'll be on the podcast, Alex. You're going to have to find a partner, because Bryce and Wendell are going to be an hour away with Eliza Orleans and some other people at the University of Dayton doing like a whole live panel discussion amongst reality TV, and then they're doing a viewing party. So I'm going to be headed to Dayton. Now, maybe I can jump on my phone. But it'll be interesting to see. I've never met Eliza Orleans before in my life, so I'm excited about that. And let me say who else is. Not that I'm trying to promote their stuff, but this reality is called the Gender and Reality TV at the University of Dayton. The panelists include Eliza Orleans, Becky Lee from Survivor Cook Islands, Taylor Hale from Big Brother 24.
Oh wow!
Bryce Isaiah Wendell. Moderated by Mertz Jaffer and Aaron Kuntz. So I'm gonna go up there and check that out and hang out and whatnot. So the Survivor family is one great, amazing family. Shout out to Tommy Trina. I was working the day. I didn't get to respond. Tommy was going to an open casting call. So listen, if you're a fan of Survivor, apply to be on the show. You can't get on the show unless you apply. So whether you make a video, excuse me, or go to a casting call, do it. And do you have any last words, Alex?
Hey, if you're going to apply to Survivor, be ready. Be ready. It's going to be hell. Expect hell. Expect to go through everything. But, embrace it for what all it is. Also, you can be pissed off. You can be pissed off if you're going to get voted out. Bring the drama back. Bring the old school reality TV back. And if you want to watch old school reality TV, watch The House of Villains every Thursday at 10 p.m. We're going to have multiple podcasts a week discussing House of Villains. One with Johnny on Talk Villain to Me and he'll have guests from House of Villains. And then you'll have one hosted by Matt and a bunch of us of the Reality After Show team breaking down these episodes, because just from the premiere alone, you get that hit of early 2000s reality TV when it was at its peak. Yes. These people know how to make good TV. Watch that. Obviously, watch the challenge. Dan and I will be covering the finale of the Challenge USA Season 3 this Friday at 4 p.m. probably. And then the following week, we'll be starting the new MTV The Challenge season of the Challenge Battle for a new champion. A lot of drama already on social media about that season, so you will want to tune in to what we like to call the official challenge podcast.
Yeah, and the thing is we do a lot of work here. So everyone involved, Dan, Karen Kuhlman, Alex Trias, Wayne, myself, Jonny Fairplay, we all do this for the love of reality TV. We're a smaller network. We do this because we enjoy it. It's not... This is not paying our bills. This is a love affair, and we want to grow the podcast because I think we have some great coverage of all these TV shows that we all love. And so thank you, Alex, for being a part of this and for doing this with me. I really enjoy doing this. I say this every week. I really enjoy doing this with you, Alex. And we'll see you next week on another Survivor 45 episode. Cheers. We love all of you. And good night, everybody.